Good news today, boys. Johnny Somali prison sentence was just extended, according to Atozy. Let's find out about it.
So obviously, yeah, Johnny Somali might have done one of the biggest mistakes in his entire case, because like the dude has been doing mistakes the whole way.
I mean, it's hard to think of anything as his biggest mistake. There's so many mistakes he made along the way. The amount of times he lied and tried to get ahead, like, dude's been taking nothing but L's from day one.
But this is probably his worst, because as we know,
Really?
he was sentenced to 6 months in prison with labor.
Yes.
But for some
Good for him. It should be longer.
reason, he decided to appeal. Remember in my last stream?
Wait, seriously? He appealed it? Wait. He appealed the 6 months in prison? Oh my God, he's such an idiot. He's so dumb. I was remembering, I just watched Legal Mindset. I watched Legal Mindset's video on this the other day, and he was saying that the appeals process is like 6 months long anyways, and he would have to be doing that from prison. So if he were to appeal it from prison, by the time the appeal went through, he would have already served his term. So there's literally like no purpose in having appealed it. He's the one that appealed it. That can only get worse for him. All right, I'm here for it. Let's hear it.
I was saying, oh, the prosecutor might appeal, because, you know, the prosecutor's trying to extend a sentence. So that's why they would want to appeal. Why would he appeal? I don't know. I guess he was misinformed, because from what I know, the average time.
Does he have like the worst lawyer in the world? Is that what it is? Does he just have a terrible lawyer? That could be. Either that or, well, we already know he's very stupid. We know that. But maybe his lawyer is bad too. Birds of a feather, I suppose.
For a new trial to start is about 5 months. So he's in prison for 6 months, remember? So by the time his trial is almost, or by the time his prison time is almost finished, his trial is just getting started, his new trial. So that's going to go on for months. So I don't know what he's thinking there. But we have a whole...
Maybe he actually doesn't want to leave Korea. Maybe that's it. Maybe he's like, no, people hate me back in the States. Don't send me back.
Lot of new information. So today I have Gabe with me here today, and he's going to help me break down all the new information about this whole case. So welcome, Gabe. Thank you for joining the stream.
Yeah, for sure.
So what is even going on? Okay, so I guess there's a few updates. So first you have like the official statement from the Victims Council.
Right.
That came out. Then you also have the appeal by Johnny, and then now the appeal by the prosecutor.
That's right. The prosecutor has also appealed. So what that means, this is a complete game changer. It means that April 15th was not the end. It's just the beginning of the end. And this prosecutor is going to go for something much closer to that 3-year recommendation at the beginning, because a reduction from 3 years to 6 months is manifestly unreasonable. It's ridiculous, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, it should have been much more than 6 months. So yeah, good. Keep him over there. We don't want him back.
And the prosecutor has decided to appeal that. So this is a process by which they're going to try to get closer to that 3.
Okay, so the prosecutor is appealing. Is Johnny Somali kind of appealing prematurely in an attempt to get ahead of it? Is that what is happening? That he's also appealing to try and get it moved the other way to make sure it doesn't get worse for him? I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. Legal Mindset, we need you.
3 years.
Wow. So, okay, so obviously that's what the prosecutor's trying to do. And I guess, what do you think? So did Johnny appeal by himself, or did he use an attorney to do this?
So what happens is, as soon as you're detained, they detain you for a week in a detention center. There are several in Seoul, and there are rumors, unconfirmed rumors, that he is at a place called Seoul Nambu Detention Center. And if you look on Kakao Map or Naver Map, you'll just see a bunch of trees that are photoshopped in to hide it. But on Google Map, you can find it. Seoul Nambu Detention Center. And so they keep you in this detention center for a week because they want to see if there's going to be an appeal. You have a week to appeal. And if there is an appeal...
Maybe he did it because he's bored. If he's there for a week, he just doesn't have anything to do. Maybe it's a boredom thing of like, well, I can appeal. I probably won't make it worse. Though, you know, he will. Johnny Somali always finds a way to make things worse.
They keep you there for the entire appeal, and the detention centers are worse than prison, and they're worse than labor.
Oh, really? Wait. The detention centers are worse than prison and worse than labor? That's... Please go on, sir.
With prison with labor, even. So he done played himself again.
Okay, wait. So he's not even doing his actual prison time. He's just subtracting his detention time.
This time in a detention center is going to count towards his prison time, but it's going to be worse and more boring and more physically grueling and more unpleasant than prison itself. It's sort of this purgatory, on your way to prison, and getting stuck there is one of the worst things that can happen. But he stuck himself there.
Get wrecked, noob.
Anyway, the prosecutor did appeal, so he would have stayed there anyway, and this is going to go on. If it goes according to the normal schedule, it'll start around September. And mind you, he's supposed to get released in...
The only downside to this is that if he were to actually go to prison and be doing the labor, right? Because he's spending this time not in the prison and not doing labor. He says it's more grueling and worse. Okay. But the only downside is if he were actually doing labor, maybe he would learn something, learn how to be productive. And then when he got out, he would have a skill set he could use other than being a total pain in the ass to everyone around him.
What, like October-ish?
October, but because of the 20 days, maybe early November. I mean, early mid-November is when he is supposed to be released. But September is according to the timeline, around when the second trial will start. So he will be in detention until the trial begins and until the trial ends. And then if either party appeals to the Supreme Court, which is also very easy to do, then he stays in the detention center also until that final appeal is done. But we're dealing with this appeal.
Johnny Somali just can't stop getting in his own way.
Right now, this first appeal. So indeed, the media was right. The lawyer was right when they were calling the first trial exactly that, the first trial. This is the second trial right now. Johnny's, I don't know what he's going to argue because he got a super light sentence. And, of course, it's obvious he doesn't even realize that yet. And the prosecutor is going to fight this decision to give him an excessively light sentence, which I think is absolutely the right thing to do.
I feel like I've been shocked throughout this entire case. And I also feel like Johnny has been playing the wrong move throughout the entire case.
Same Atozy.
Right. Kind of like it's kind of like he had an option game, pick option A or option B, and he's always going with the worst option. I guess just to unlock the worst possible ending.
Yeah. He's, whether intentionally or not, he's finding that worst possible ending. Yeah. Man, every time I think, okay, it's finally over, or man, this guy can't mess it up any further than he already has. He figures it out. Every time he figures it out.
So now he got off with an extremely light sentence and he decides to appeal it, which does not make sense. It just doesn't make sense whatsoever. So you do
First of all, because he's extending his own sentence. He was the one who took the initiative with the before the prosecutor even to extend his own sentence. So guys, 6 months. It's not going to be 6 months. That's guaranteed. The only question is how much more than 6 months it's going to be.
Okay, so if he goes through this very long process now, and for example, let's say he gets 2 years. So is the detention time that he's doing all the way up until this, for example, alleged 2-year sentence, if that actually happens, would that be deducted from the prison sentence?
Exactly. It counts as time served.
Okay, but I think people also need to remember that there's another case that's being brought against him from a different district. So they still have to choose whether or not to fully bring it to trial. But Johnny Somali might get hit with more charges and be forced to stay even longer, even if this appeal doesn't change anything.
Again, that's not a bad thing because detention center is worse than prison, even with labor.
Wow. Okay, so you would basically go out and say it's basically guaranteed that he's now going to stay in Korea for longer than 6 months and 20 days.
Right.
Wow.
Absolutely. It's almost 100% guaranteed. The only way that wouldn't happen is if the second trial finishes before October or so,
Yeah.
which is unlikely but possible. Okay, so that's one scenario
Okay.
where he gets 6 months, but he would also have to win. The prosecutor would have to lose the case in order for that to happen. And we talked about the math, and we talked about
Yeah.
the sentencing guidelines last time, and this.
It's unlikely that the prosecutor's gonna lose anything because Johnny Somali freaking recorded himself doing all of this stuff. I can't see anyone being more lenient with him than they've already been, honestly.
This light sentence is so obviously outside of the guidelines, like a extreme deviation from the guidelines, especially considering that the judge named very serious aggravating factors, that I don't see how the prosecutor could lose this.
Interesting.
But
And
again,
now,
nothing is guaranteed. We've seen curveballs coming left and right?
yeah.
So nothing is guaranteed. But
Right.
it's having this trial end before October and having the prosecutor lose. Both of those factors are not very likely. So we can pretty much count on him getting more than 6 months, and we can count on it being in a hellhole that's worse than prison with labor. So there you go.
So, okay, who do you think is going to be the witnesses for this now? So, obviously, like, will they bring Bong Bong and Youngmon back to the stand?
I think they will, because there is a very big problem with how the judge interpreted their testimony.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Bringing him back up to the stand. Having him face Johnny Somali. I keep calling him Johnny Somali. His real name's Ramsey Khaleed Ismael. He doesn't really like when people use his real name, but I think it's funny to make it because he doesn't like it. So I really should be calling him Ramsey.
Again, you and I
Okay.
were not in the room for the testimony, but we did hear enough corroborating testimonies of what they said to get a good idea of what they said. And Bong Bong has talked on her stream about what she said before she went to court and after she went to court. She did a whole rundown of what the testimony contained, and nothing about it was very surprising, knowing her and knowing the entire situation. But it definitely was not saying, "Oh, I don't care. There's no damage. I felt no shame."
Right. I remember that a mitigating factor for Johnny Somali was that Bong Bong didn't feel an extreme amount of shame or discomfort by his sharing of the AI generated images of him and her. But maybe she just, I don't know. Again, I haven't heard her testimony. They didn't either. But it doesn't sound like she was okay with it happening, even if she might have put on a brave face and said that it wasn't an extreme embarrassment. She definitely was not pleased with it happening. So yeah, hopefully this leads to more time for Johnny Somali.
Whatsoever. She contradicts herself sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Everyone does. I mean, it's part of speaking. People say things and then they backtrack or change the way that they talk about things. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But that
But
was
I
the
don't-
interesting thing about her testimony, because as she was in the Uber on the way to court, she just ran through her testimony. And
Yeah,
then after
exactly.
court, she kind of ran back through her testimony and kind of told everyone what she was saying and everything. So
Yeah, told us what she was going to say. She said it, and then she told us what she said. So so
it's
we know
just
it was
it's
not.
crazy.
Yeah.
And so the
It's
detention center that he's currently in, you're saying it's worse than that.
it's worse.
How
than
do you think
prison.
his life is going to be in prison there, or in the detention center before he goes to prison?
Andrew's actually going to be talking a lot about that on the stream. But what I do know is he'll be sleeping next to the toilet, which is a hole in the ground.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Seriously, actually sleeping right next to the toilet, which is a hole in your own, like genuinely face on cement next to toilet hole. That's pretty terrible. I feel bad for you, Johnny. Or Ramsey. I feel bad for you, Ramsey, sort of. But it's consequences of your own actions.
Okay. Well, that's not ideal. Okay.
So it's really gross.
Okay, and then I guess I have another question as well, because if they decide to bring back Bong Bong and Youngman as witnesses, does that mean they're going to space out the trials by at least 2 months, like they were doing with the other witnesses for the trial that we just witnessed?
They tend to do that in first trial when people are when there's somebody who pleads not guilty, when a person pleads. But that's a good question. Let me take a look at some precedents here and see how it was spaced out.
And do you think there'll be any other witnesses than Bong Bong and Youngman to this trial?
That is possible. Usually people use the second trial as an opportunity to call another witness. I just don't know who it would be. I have no idea who it would be. So it's possible, but I don't know who it would be that would help his case. We also do not know. We don't know what his argument's going to be. I mean, we do know it's going to be ridiculous, but we don't know what his argument's going to be. But
oh man, I wish that they would allow cameras in there to record it. Oh, I would love to hear what Ramsey is actually trying to pull off here.
He could have his argument for against his sentence. Whatever it is, maybe that could involve needing to call another witness, and they'll allow him that chance, and it will extend the trial, and that's great.
I mean, like, I would assume that his argument's probably going to be the exact same as what it was originally. I think he's just going to hope that it works better this time or something like that. I don't.
Yeah, his argument so far seems to be it shouldn't have been a big deal. It's not really. I'm not actually doing anything that bad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
The whole situation, it doesn't make sense. But yeah, I guess here we are.
Yeah, I can see that in an appeal trial they do space out, if there's witnesses, they will space out the trial dates by maybe 2 months, 2 to 3 months. So witnesses.
Oh my gosh, seriously? 2 to 3 months between trial dates for different witnesses? That, oh boy. If there's multiple witnesses, this could go on for a long time then.
Will, make it take a little bit longer. Absolutely, I think Bong Bong and Youngman are going to return, because what's at issue here is how the judge interpreted their testimony, which it appears he misinterpreted.
And last time he also had the help of Hank, and now it doesn't look like that's there anymore.
Yeah, those days are...
Oh, yeah. I saw that Hank and... Mr. Ramsey Khaleed Ismael are not really so friendly anymore. Hank had been supporting Ramsey throughout the whole thing, even giving him a place to live while he was there in Korea. But now Hank might be suing Ramsey for all of the stuff that he's cost him. Oof. Ramsey taking another L.
Over.
I think that's also going to negatively affect this current trial, because didn't Hank testify for him in his favor?
Yeah, we both saw a great effort on Hank's part to run cover for Johnny in October, right? We saw it right before our eyes. In two different court cases spaced a week apart, he testified in a way that was favorable to Johnny.
So it sounds to me like Ramsey Khaleed Ismael got 6 months with 6 months in jail with hard labor in a situation that was the most ideal for him. A judge that was very lenient, a friend that was willing to go to bat for him and support him financially and help pay for his lawyer and to be pushing for him and testifying for him. And now he's trying to appeal that when it's in the worst possible situation. You're not gonna get a more lenient judge, and you don't have your pay backing from Hank. What are you thinking, Ramsey? Yeah, I seriously, the level of stupidity astounds me.
and he helped bring about that settlement with Youngman, and he signed
Correct.
it as well.
Correct. And now he's probably gonna He's probably gonna have to go into this trial without Hank. And
Right.
could Hank be called? And what happens if Hank's opinion has flipped on Johnny, and he now has to testify, and he could testify against him now?
That would be
That would be crazy.
that would be next level. That would be amazing.
That would be peak. That would be such cinema.
It's possible.
Wow, we are living in interesting times, to put it lightly.
He might get 4 to 6 years at this rate.
I can't believe this happened. I actually can't believe he was sentenced to begin with. That was like, oh, whoa. Because I'm just so used to all these streamers getting let off with a slap on the wrist. And a lot of people are arguing that his sentence was a slap on the wrist, but regardless, he got a guilty verdict. And he...
Yeah, it was a bit of a slap of the wrist, but it was actually a slap rather than a stern word of saying, no, don't do that again. Brr, 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 brr. We're very disappointed in you, Mr. Streamer. Now get out of here. No, it was at least a slap. It's something.
was actually sentenced to prison with labor. And now he's immediately kneecapping himself by making his sentence even worse by appealing.
Right.
But I guess
And
it would
I'm
happen
here for
inevitably
it.
because
I am so here for it.
now the prosecutor also appealed. So does that change anything that both parties appealed?
It will be one trial. So it's not going to be two separate trials.
Okay.
And yeah, everybody out there who should know that this is very significant because the chances of him serving only those 6 months are now almost zero. They're very, very small. So it's not exaggerating to say that he's going to serve longer. And if the prosecutor wins, it's going to get closer to that 3 years that was originally recommended.
And
amazing. Fantastic. The world is healing.
someone's asking also, is there a chance the judge will give him the 3 years now because they might take offense by him being ungrateful for the light sentence to begin with?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that, about how the judge may take offense to the ruling. Ooh, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a different judge, but still, you're being ungrateful? Slap you a little harder. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Judges make their decisions for all sorts of reasons. If they say it's only for the justice and complying with the law, that's
as we see in the U.S., judges make their decisions for all sorts of reasons. Stupid activist judges getting in the way of things happening all the time here.
Sort of wishful thinking. But I think I think any reasonable judge or any reasonable judgment would be a lot closer to that 3 years, because no matter how, I've run so many scenarios with how you take these crimes and the factors that aggravate, many of which the judge didn't even think about or mention, right? And there should be no mitigating factors.
Right.
There's no mitigating factors here. Then the mitigating factors that the judge came up with are nonsense. So I think any reasonable judge would decide something closer to those 3 years. However, I had a theory about why this judge may have given such a light sentence, and it could be because his thinking is, all right, he deserves a very harsh sentence, but I'm going to kick the can down the road. I don't want to be the one to do it. I'll let the higher court make that decision.
Oh, interesting. Maybe the judge. Yeah, I guess that's possible. Giving him a light sentence, keep him there in jail, keep him there in the country just long enough for an appeal process to go through so that someone else can deal with it. A little cowardly, honestly, more cowardly than I would have expected from a Korean. I think of them as a more courageous, more proud culture, but I don't know. Interesting theory.
So it's
that
like he takes the burden of the decision off himself. He's like, I'm going to give such a low sentence that it's obviously going to go to the higher court, and then a panel of 3 judges will make a decision. That's just a theory, of course. We're never going to know.
Yeah.
We'll never
know.
Now,
so in the appeal court now, there'll be 3 judges instead of 1?
Yes.
Oh, okay. 3 judges. I think Johnny's screwed.
Do you think that helps or hurts Johnny?
I think it hurts because
Same.
if this had been a panel in the first case, I don't think 2 other judges would have agreed with that judge. So I think that
Yeah, I agree. I don't think 2 other judges would have agreed. I think especially with the threats that Johnny made towards his family, even if they were non-serious threats, the obvious not taking them seriously. With 3 people, you're more likely to find someone who's not going to put up with that.
that is to his disadvantage.
Right. Well, wow. Do you have anything else to add before we hop off?
Yeah, sure. So the prosecutor submitted their appeal today, but they also submitted their grounds for appeal document, which they didn't have to submit today. They have a month to do that because that takes a lot of work. So that means this judge is going to be very aggressive that they really prioritized this case. They got their grounds for appeal in right away. And Johnny's grounds for appeal is also due within 1 month, but we won't find out what's in that until the trial begins, which is around September.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right.
Wow. Do you know what the grounds for appeal was?
We'll find out at the first trial.
Okay. Because we do have, at least we have the statement from the victim's legal counsel here.
That's right.
I mean, I think obviously the grounds for appeal from the prosecutor's side is that the sentence does not match up with the crime. The stuff that Johnny did should be far more harshly punished than he got. As for Johnny, what his grounds for appeal are, I would guess his grounds go something like this. I am a moron who cannot stop getting in my own way. So I would like to appeal so that I can make my own life harder. I think that's about it. That's probably what his grounds for appeal are.
And the gist of that was, it was just too weak.
Yep.
Because like the ending sentence was, after consultation with the victim, we've decided to submit a formal request to the prosecutor's office urging an appeal, given the impact of the court's reasoning on the humiliation may have on the sentencing standards in future deepfake cases. We believe this matter must be reviewed by a higher court. We hope this ruling serves as an occasion to heighten public awareness of personal rights violations committed through online platforms and of deepfake-based offenses.
Good. Get those punishments out there.
Wow.
Set a good precedent to prevent people from abusing others like that in the future.
Okay, so that was the update for now. I'll be linking Gabe's channel down below. Please check him out because he's been extremely helpful with this entire case. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Peace, guys. So obviously...
All right, well, that was that with Atozy. Thanks, Atozy, for keeping us apprised on that, on the Johnny Somali Ramsey Khaleed Ismael case. Again, I'm hoping for 6 years. I'm hoping he's over there for a long time. Get him trained up in something to make him a productive member of society while you're at it. All right, take it easy. Oh no, you've ended up in my den. You must think that this is the end, but you have no need to fret. There's still more to come yet. Click on subscribe to let YouTube know just how far this channel should go. More will come later, or if you so need, click on another video to see more of me in your feed.